Hi, my name's Farah Driver. I am going to be your online instructor for this course. I want to do a quick review of the syllabus and then we will talk about your first discussion post, which is due this Thursday. The syllabus is straightforward. You should be familiar with them as a rule. Everything's laid out according to the way the university wants it. Where I want to start with for us are specific things. Again, this is who I am. I don't have an office on campus because I don't live in the state of Georgia. If you want to get in touch with me, the best way to do that is by email. We can also, if necessary, set up a Zoom meeting if you feel really insecure about your grades or really want to talk, or if everybody in the class wants to have a discussion about some element of what we're doing. At that point in time, I'll just establish an open room on Zoom. We'll set a specific time depending on who can meet when and where, and go from there. But you'll need to all get together, or at least many of you will need to email me so that we can get this negotiated. As to email, GGC, like most of the USG systems, is ardent in the fact that they do not want us to open any email that does not come from the university itself. And a lot of that is, of course, for security purposes. So if you email me, you need to use your GGC email. In fact, my understanding was they've gotten to the point where they have set the filters so high that a lot of things that don't come from GGC just simply won't get through. All right, so where we are then. Moving on, that's going to cover communication. Technology, I don't think any of you will have a problem with, since obviously you have to have a computer to be doing this. The expectations are pretty straightforward. You're going to need to check into our Brightspace or Desire to Learn webpage pretty much every day. I will email you if there are any changes in the syllabus or any changes in the schedule if something comes up. But for the most part, my plan is for the course to run the same pattern throughout the entire 13 weeks. Every Thursday, you will have your top post due. And then between Thursday and Monday, on 3 different days, you will need to make a peer comment, something substantive in response to someone else's top post or in response to me. I will respond to all of you. It may not all be on Friday, but sometime between Friday and Sunday, I will have responded to you all. And my responses to you are basically designed to help you get out points or to explain in more detailed points that are covered in the rubric, things that will get your grade to go up. So responding to me will usually be a little difficult for you in the sense that I'm going to be asking you to expand on what you have been reading and what you've been seeing in the videos. It may require you to revisit what you've already done in order to elaborate in more detail. But it's also my desire to get you to the point of understanding, what we're doing. Other expectations, because the structure is pretty much set, the discussion posts, top post on Thursday, the peer comments by Monday. The journal entries will be every 3 weeks, and they will be due on Monday nights by midnight. For that reason, I don't tend to assume that you're going to be late other than if you've had some major problem, like illness or accident, death in the family, one of the things that are considered to be the legitimate reasons for things to be late. You do need to let me know if something's going to be late as soon as possible, i.e. preferably before the deadline itself. If you can't get it to me, if say you lose your internet or you have some reason why you can't get in touch with me before the deadline, you need to get in touch with me as soon as you possibly can. I do not have a lot of patience for 3 days later somebody submitting something without telling me why it's coming in 3 days late. That's an automatic 10% per day, 30% off. If it's 4 days late, I don't have to take it. And again, if you haven't had enough respect for me to explain to me why it's late, then I probably won't. I can be forgiving if there's a valid reason why it's late, but I'm not really forgiving if you're just, not getting it done and not letting me know why. You need to be in touch with me. Because this is an online class, that is way more important than it is in a classroom situation itself. At least in the classroom, you might be in class and you might have the opportunity to talk to me. But with this, you're going to have to stay in touch with me as much as you can. You're going to have 2 tests, and this is where the web conferencing online test part comes in. A midterm and a final. They will, like your journals and your discussions, be essay questions. We will use for those the Respondus Lockdown browser, which basically will require you to download the browser itself to your computer. It's going to prevent you from being able to browse outside of that. Now, the tests, those two tests will be timed because I assume you will have your book, you will have to use citation in those, and they will be checked through Turnitin. So having some kind of device handy like a phone or whatever that will allow you to look up stuff while you've got your computer in lockdown is something I have to contend with. But it's not going to allow you to copy and paste, which is good. But again, you will need to be able to use citation and you'll be required to use citation for that. All citation for the course is going to be in APA. That's pretty straightforward. You just use the parentheses when you get to the end of a sentence where you have either quoted somebody else or used somebody else's idea or used something that is not common knowledge. At that point in time, at the end of that sentence, you must open up parentheses, put the author's last name from wherever you got the source, the date of the publication of that source. And if you're using a book, like the textbook, you have to put the page number. That structure is designed so that that's your what we call the in-text citation. What I should be able to do from there is go to the end of your paper where your works cited page is, look for that author, that last name, and then there should be a complete citation after that. And by complete citation, I mean the author's name, the title of the book or the journal, or wherever you got the information, or the web page, wherever you got the information, when it was published, and then the location. If you're using a book, it's the publication information. If you're using a website, it would be the link. But you will see examples of that in the APA videos that I've linked in almost anything, and also in the examples that I've given you in the journal and in the discussion rubrics themselves. All right. Course resources. You need to have a required textbook. You need to have a textbook. It needs to be the second volume of a World Civilizations text. My preferred ones are Ways of the World, which if you use that one, that's actually the way the course is modeled. I've actually taken their thematic approach in the structure that we're using, in the concept of the questions, and so forth. But you can also use Patterns of World History by von Sivers, Denoyer, and Stowe, which is a really good book. I actually teach in the classroom with that one. I like it a lot. Or you can use Traditions and Encounters by Bentley, edited by Bentley. That is the one that I think was assigned to the class before I actually got the class. I wasn't actually brought into the class until 2 weeks ago, so that's a big part of why the entire web page also isn't designed. You may use either of those three. Whichever one you use must have sources. What sources means in this text is primary sources, because for your journal entries, you'll be required to use primary sources. I have some primary sources linked in the in our Brightspace page in each week, but the books will also have sources at the end of each chapter. So depending on how you approach the journal questions, you'll have more ability to pick and choose sources if you're using one of these three textbooks. I will also attempt periodically to post additional sources, like as you've noticed from this week, your first discussion. All of those are videos because I know many of you wouldn't have the books by that point in time. So everything that we're doing this week is a video, even though if you have already acquired your textbook, please, please, please use it. It's all fine. Grading scale, grading percentages, this is all pretty standard. For the percentages themselves, your discussion forums are going to count 40%, and you'll have 12 of them, and I will grade or count the top 10. That gives you the first couple of weeks to kind of get into understanding what I'm looking for and how to support things. Your 5 journal entries are 7% each for a total of 35. Your midterm is 10%, and your final exam is 15. That should give you the 100%. The late policy, which I've already explained, the assessment tools, which we just went through as well, the discussions, the journals, the midterm, and the final. These are going to tell you pretty much what I've already said. For the 2 tests, you need the Respondus Lockdown browser, and you need your APA citation form. All right, this is the actual chart of what we're covering in each week. And as I said, if you get Ways of the World, by Strayer and Nelson, you will actually see this. This is the way it is laid out, chapter to chapter by them. On the far right-hand corner, of course, is the assignments that are due when you've got your journal entries due, and the fact that discussions are all due by midnight on Thursdays. All right, final exam itself will be given sometime in the week of November 16th to 22nd, which is the exam week. What I will do is set it up online. You will be able to pick when you want to take it in that week, but you only have one chance to do that. So you need to make sure that you carve out the 2-hour period of time to do it, that you will have access to a computer and whatever you need to take it with, including your textbook and whatever notes or examples of your journal entries and discussion forums that you might want. All right. Course expectations, pretty straightforward. You're going to have to read, you're going to have to write. That is the nature of an online course, and it's the nature of a history course. Our important dates, the drop date, if you don't want this course to show up anywhere on any record, you need to drop it by Friday, the 15th. September 6th is Labor Day holiday. That doesn't really impact us per se. It is the last day to get things in, but for that week, you will have until Tuesday to get your last peer comments in. September 29th, last day to drop with a W. Now, I will get your midterm grades to you on the 27th, and then you have effectively 2 days or by 5 p.m. on the 29th to decide if you want to keep going with the course. November 15th is the last day of classes. Obviously, this is pushing this very quick. They want it out by effectively Thanksgiving from the look of it. And then November 29th will be when I have to have final grades due into Banner. So once we actually, and you're still going to want to stay in touch with me because as I finish up with your finals, if your grade is on a border point, I will try to do something to help you along with that. All right, this is mostly school stuff, what you're expected to get out of the course. Academic integrity, I have zero tolerance for plagiarism. Just be aware of that. Everything, including your discussion posts, going to be checked through Turnitin. So please, please take academic integrity very seriously, because online classes, particularly, people like to think they can get answers from web pages, copying and pasting stuff. No, all of this is stuff. All the questions I ask you are all going to be opinion questions. They're all going to be designed for you to really have to think about them. So please, please do not plagiarize. Do not cheat. Do not do any of those things that will really get you into a lot of trouble with the school as a whole, definitely with me in this class as a whole. All right, the Academic Enhancement Center, if you're on campus and need it, there are tutors, as I understand it. You can talk to them. They have online tutoring as well. Disability services, the syllabus itself has gone through the accessibility structure. You can contact disability services if you have, or if you need accommodations of any kind. They will let me know. Actually, I think you're supposed to let me know. I can't remember what the new system is for that. Kauffman, you can access a lot of stuff through the database, so you don't even have to be on campus, but certainly the library itself is also very good. And they'll have copies of textbooks too if you need to just go read something if you don't have access to something. The COVID-19 statement, not really applicable to us since we are online, but as a whole, if you're on campus, please, we're back to the masking thing. So again, academic respect, academic integrity, the American with Disabilities Act, and attendance policy. Because this is an online class, I expect you to check in at least 5 days of the week. And if you have questions or problems, please let me know. All right, I think that gets us effectively into our last minute here. Read through the syllabus. If you have any other questions, let me know. And I'm going to move on to a video on explaining the discussion forum posts. Thank you.